you want something that's fuel efficient but still gets the family there. And this car, would I buy this car? Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. Today we are doing a 2-week driving review of this, which is a 2021 Hyundai Palisade, or maybe a Palisade or whatever. I don't know how you say it. I call it a Palisade. Now this car is a new series car. It actually replaces the Santa Fe long wheelbase, which allowed it to have an 8-passenger. They have gotten rid of that Santa Fe extended wheelbase and replaced it with this. So this is a brand new model. It came out in 2020 and this is a 2022 model. So it's only 2 years into this life cycle of this car. So then of course the question is, what does it have? Well, it has a 3.8 liter V6 engine, which is about standard for this class. It puts out 291 horsepower and it rockets this all-wheel drive model from 0 to 60 in about 7.7 seconds. Before we get too far into this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. If you've seen some of our content already and have not subscribed, we want you to join our community. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get back to the video. So this car comes with the standard features that you would expect in a car. That includes your power windows, your power mirrors, your power door locks. It also includes seat memory, and this really weird kind of push button transmission. Rather than the steering column that you're used to or a floor shifter, it's all push button. So you've got drive, you've got neutral, reverse, and park. There are flappy paddles here for shifting gears through the gears, first, second, third, and so on. It is an 8-speed transmission. There's plenty of steering wheel controls, which include your standard volume up, volume down, next channel, your cruise control controls. I do have heated seats and a heated steering wheel. It's got a number of drive options on here. So you can see there's an eco mode, there's a sport mode, and a smart mode. Also a comfort mode. So those are the 4 standard drive options, but I can also click this terrain button and then it unlocks snow, mud, or sand. It does have 3-zone climate control, which can adjust independently, which is very nice, and this Android Auto smart screen, which will sync up to your cell phone and that sort of thing. There's plenty of storage in here, and going to the back seat, there's the standard middle row seat. This is an 8-passenger, and then there is access to the other 3 passengers in the rear, as well as decent amount of storage space in the back. These back seats are actually okay because I can adjust. I can be vertical or I can recline about that far. They also do slide forward and backward, so I can lock it right here and give the person in the back more legroom, or I can slide this back to give myself more legroom. I know I can tell you all day about what the car has for specs, but we need to see what it's like to drive. So that's what we're gonna do right now, my driving impression of the car. We're gonna put it into drive and off we go. Now the first thing you're gonna notice as we're driving along is just the noise. This car is loud. It's a big space, I know, but if you drive a different car in the market, in the segment, a Honda Pilot or a Toyota of some sort, I don't know if you can hear that. I'm going 70 kilometers an hour right now, and there's just this noise in the background. It's rather annoying and it gives me a headache the longer I drive. Fortunately, where I've been doing this week-long test drive, I'm only driving for 20 to 30 minutes at a time, so it's okay. Yesterday I drove into Vancouver just to check things out there. That was an hour-long drive from where I'm at right now. And the noise, this car made me a little car sick. I was driving the car and I was getting car sick. There's a number of factors I think that contribute to that, but I think the noise was definitely part of it. Now this car does have active noise canceling. And what that means is it uses the microphones that are within the car, it monitors the sound level in the car, and it tries to play a low frequency sound through the speakers to try and offset the sound, the sound of the noise. Now, I can get into all the details about, you know, sound cancellation and all of that, but just know that whatever they've done sucks. It doesn't work. It's not working great. I don't know how loud this car would be if the noise cancellation was off, but it's not very quiet with it on. That's a major concern for me. There is one thing I do like, and that is the acceleration, which we're feeling right now. Sorry, I gotta hold my tripod so the camera doesn't fall over. Like I said, this goes from 0 to 60 in about 7.7 seconds. That's not super fast. That's not like my wife's Mercedes, which has 450 horsepower. It goes 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. Now this engine, being the 3.8 liter, it only makes 291 horsepower, which is about right for the segment. Everyone's trying to make roughly 300 horsepower. This car feels torquey. When you step on the gas, it does go. It responds quickly. It's got the 8-speed transmission, which always seems to have the right gear, and that's a good thing. As far as features and stuff goes, I mean, it's a new car. It's got all of the features that you would expect in a new car. When you get in, it feels kind of space agey. You've got everything there, which is nice. It's nice. This being a base model, I don't have leather seats. And in fact, you've got to get significantly higher in the trim line before you get leather seats. But what you do have feels good. The interface between you and the road is good. It's solid. There's nothing I can complain about as far as that. The steering wheel feels good. The seat feels good. It's supportive. It's adjustable multiple different ways, so you can get it set exactly right for your needs. And then there's these programmable settings here where you can just save those settings so you can always use them. So that's wonderful. That's really great. This car will set you back about, for a base model, about 45,000 Canadian dollars. That's for a base model with the basic features on it, which this has. Now, this does have the all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive on this car is garbage. It has a very front wheel bias to it, which I never like. If you've watched this channel before, I've talked about this before. Any all-wheel drive system that has a front-wheel drive bias makes it feel like a front-wheel drive. If you get stuck in mud or snow, I'm sure the back tires will turn on, and I'm sure it'll get you unstuck. But for everyday driving, I want a rear wheel bias. And the reason for that is when you're going around corners and you step on the gas, I want the car to travel around the corner. When you've got a front wheel bias, the car tends to skip around the corner like a front wheel drive would. It's just not exciting. Now, of course, you're saying, Anton, this is an SUV. It's not supposed to be exciting. Maybe it's not supposed to be exciting, but why can't it be exciting? Why can't I expect for it to be a little bit more exciting than just driving a mom's soccer machine down the road? It's got the acceleration down, which is fun and it is exciting, but when you try to get a little bit more spirited with it, you're definitely driving a big, heavy, luggy SUV that has issues with the drivetrain as far as fun and excitement goes. These options for comfort and eco and sport, I'm not sure what exactly they do. I've played with them. I'm driving currently in comfort mode, and that's simply because the throttle on this is very hit and miss. When I put it on sport, it just feels like you just move the throttle a little bit and it's like full throttle. You're like just driving like a madman. So there's no modulation on there. The other thing that I don't like, it's got this auto engine off thing where when you stop for a certain amount of time or push the brakes to a certain point, then the engine shuts off, which I understand a lot of cars are doing that these days. The implementation of it in this car has some issues. It makes it very jerky. When you take your foot off the brake, there's that moment where the engine start has to kick in, and it's always jerky. You're like, you jerk, and then you're trying to get the gas pedal right, and then that jerks. It makes the whole experience questionable at best. And for my own comfort, a jerky ride creates a problem. The other gripe that I have with this, the average fuel economy. I'm averaging overall 12.8 liters per 100 kilometers. Again, I'll reference my wife's Mercedes. That is a 5.5 liter V8. It makes over 400 horsepower. It goes 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. It stops fast, it goes fast, it does everything fast. And on that car, we are averaging 10.5 liters per 100 kilometers, city highway driving. Why? Why does this need an extra 2 liters for every 100 kilometers that I drive? Why does it need that? In today's fuel market, that means I'm spending, every time I travel 100 kilometers, I'm spending about $3 more. It does not sound like a lot, but think about how many times you've driven 100 kilometers. If it costed you $3 more every time, wouldn't you be concerned? It's never great. You want something that's fuel efficient, but still gets the family there. And this car, unfortunately, it is about right for the segment, but it's not great. Would I buy this car? No, I would not. I would not buy this car. This is a Hyundai. It's a nice Hyundai. When you look at other cars in the segment, you're looking at a Honda Pilot, you're looking at a Toyota Highlander, you're looking at Kia's got their version of this. This particular one looks like an Infiniti. The styling and the shape, the grille, all of that, it looks like an Infiniti, which is great. I like Infinitis. I like the styling, I like how it looks. But $45,000 for this, if I want to go and get a similarly equipped Honda Pilot, it's going to cost me about $47,000. Consider this. When Kanye West was writing his song Gold Digger, he references a guy who is a superstar, who's a famous football player, but because he has an ex-wife, he's down on his luck and can't be all flashy. And the lyric goes, you win a Super Bowl, then drive off in a Hyundai. There's a reason why people reference Hyundais when they're talking about people that are down on their luck. Why on earth would anybody go and buy something that sends the message, I'm down on my luck? You don't even get to pretend that you're sensible. You don't get to pretend that, well, this is a good choice because it makes financial sense. It's the same price as a Honda, or at least close enough to the same price that really in 5 years from now, do you want to have a paid off Hyundai or do you want to have a paid off Honda? I will answer that question for you. Hondas hold the resale. Toyotas, they hold the resale. Hyundais, they don't hold the resale. And that's because there's still that stigma that they're crap. Is this one crap? I don't know. It hasn't been out long enough for me to say, yes, it's crap or no, it's not crap. We don't have longevity in the market to say so. But what I can say is that the Santa Fe that this replaces is garbage. The Honda Pilot is still going strong. The Highlander is still going strong. You can buy those in the used market. They're worth every penny, and people are charging a small fortune for them. Nobody's charging a fortune for a Santa Fe. Nobody will be charging a fortune for a Hyundai Palisade. As a new car, there's a lot here. There's a lot to trick you into thinking it's a good purchase, but consider the alternatives. If you can, just save your money, get the Honda, get the Toyota, get something else. If somebody gives you one of these, keep it and drive it, that's fine. Don't go to the store and buy it on your own. If you can't afford the Honda, maybe consider a used Honda, year-old, 2 years old, just off lease, whatever, get the extended warranty on it. But don't find yourself in a Hyundai. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.